Hello, you're welcome back. I believe you are all doing well. We thank God for the opportunity to be together once again. Um, we are going to continue with what we started in our previous class. As we begin, let's have a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for granting us the opportunity once again to be together. We pray that you guide us through this class. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen. All right. So in our last class, I gave some explanation on how to assemble the universal joint, and I explained that in order for you to be able to assemble them correctly, you need to know where each part is supposed to be, and especially this one, we're given some write-up on how that should be. And one other way of determining where each part should be is by understanding how the whole system works, and then also to be able to know the dimensions, or to be able to look at the dimensions of the various parts, and then be able to match them with the dimensions of other ones so that you can correctly fit them together. And when we are done, the joint should be able to operate as it should. All right, so here we're going to go a little bit further. I'm going to try to put the various parts together. I've tried to sketch them here. So the we have the fork. The fork is item 2. We also have the central block. The central block is this one. And then we have the pin, that is a pin, and we have the collar, that's the collar, is this one here. Then the other thing is the shaft. We have the shaft here, and then also the key, and that is the key. All right, so the only thing that we don't have here is that taper pin, which is locking the collar with to the pin. All right, that one will produce it later. So let's look at this. So now, with all these parts here, we're going to determine where each part should be. And when I was taking you through the various ways of doing or going about assembly drawing, one way is also is that to make sure that your drawing is able to fit your drawing sheet. And to do that, you need to identify the overall dimensions of the drawing. So what you are going to do is to add up the dimensions of the drawing. When you have put all the parts together, that is how you'll be able to determine the overall dimension. So in that case, we see that there are certain parts that will enter into some parts. And what will happen is that the dimensions of those parts, like for instance this central block, is going to go through into the fork, and when it goes into it, we will see that some of the dimensions of the central block will interfere with that of the fork. So what will happen is that when we are doing the calculation of the overall dimension, realize that we are not mainly going to add the overall dimensions of the fork plus this and then plus the other one to determine. But you have to take into consideration those overlaps, that when you put this one here, there will be an overlap. And then when there's an overlap, there means that when we are adding up the dimensions, the overlap that has gone into this one will not be added, but rather you're going to add from here to that point, and then from there the rest of the dimensions of this that remains, you add it to it. And then the other ones that will be added to it, you also make sure that you take care of all the overlaps, so that you have the overall dimensions. So let's look at this one. So here, the other time I explained that before you start, you have to identify what you call the parent part. And that parent part is the part which is not, is let's say there is the largest part, is the parts that you are going to attach all the other components to. And to do that, you have to make sure that that part which you are picking up, you're able to attach sorry, you're able to attach all those components to it, and you choose that one as the parent part. So we can decide from here, we can decide that we are going to select the fork as our parent part. When we select the fork as the parent part, it means that all other parts that we are having here are going to be assembled to that fork. And remember that we have the fork, we have two of it. If you look at the part list here, we have the fork, we have two, the shaft, we have two, we have the central block, only one, the pin, the collar, the key, we have two. All right, so this is one. So this is the fork, and here we have been given the sectional view. If you look at um, the drawing, the exploded view, we have the sectional view of the fork given to us, and that is exactly what I have drawn here. So this one that is in two-dimensional is like it has already been given. So what you do is that you mainly going to draw same as I have drawn over here. But if assuming it has not been given, it's not sectioned, you will have to provide a section. There are times where you will find it in three-dimensional, and which means that you have to draw the two-dimensional view, the projections like the front view, then you provide the section. So in such cases, you will have to put them together. First of all, you have the assembling in your mind that this part is going to be here, that part is going to be here. Then you start the drawing. So at the start of the drawing, you are drawing the projection. So if the fork was given in three-dimensional, you mainly draw the front view of the fork, and then if it's to be section, you can draw the sectional front view of the fork, and this is how it should look like. So in this case, we are going to insert them, the various parts, we are going to add them to the fork to give us the whole joint. So if you look at this, I mentioned that if we are looking at the dimension to determine where each part is going to go, if you look at the central block, it's having the height of 56. The fork, the height in between here, that space there is equal to 56, which matches with this. So it means that this is going to perfectly fit into that side. And because this is going to fit there, and then the center line of it, or the axis of this part of the central block, will be in line with the axis of this hole in the fork here. All right, I explained that in the previous video, so let's go straight. So you just draw this one. After drawing the fork, after drawing the fork, you are going to draw the central block inside there. You do not have to do it separate as I've done here, but it has to be there when you are drawing pencil on the drawing board. So I'm going to move it there. All right, so we move, and the axis should be in line with it. So I can say that here, and that should flash, because we determined the other time that the distance from, I mean, the inner diameter of the fork, the central block, is the same as the inner diameter over here. All right, we can determine this one, the inner diameter, on the plan of the fork, and that has been given as 16. That is this 16 here. All right, so what will happen is this hole here, which is 16 in diameter, will perfectly align itself with the hole inside here, which is um, 16 millimeters in diameter. Okay, so I aligned it inside there like that. Then when I'm done, I go to the next one. And you must remember here that this is sectional view. And sectional view, when we are sectioning, if the parts are different, that is, in assembly draw, if the parts are different and you are to section them, you make sure that you change the section directions for each part. So for instance, if you look at this one and then the central block here, because fork the fork is different from the central block, when I'm sectioning, I section the fork to have the direction of the arches to go in that direction, as we have seen here. Then the central block, which is also different from the fork, you section it in the direction as given over there. So it's exactly as we have here. That's what we put there. That is to differentiate the two members. Then the next one is to add the pin. We can add the pin, the first pin in this case. We can add it. So let me select the pin and move it. So I can move it from here and place it there. So what it means is that you will draw the pin when you are finished with this uh, fork with the central block, then the pin will come. So you will see that there is some interference here. You will see that some of the parts here are overlapping. So we have the central block now, it has entered into the fork, and the pin have come to go through as we are having over there. Then I can also add the collar. So the collar is here, and the collar, as I explained the other time, is locking, is mounted on the pin. So I can move the collar from here and then I put it here. So in that case, we are almost completing one part of the joint. So we have the fork, this central block, the pin have gone through, and the collar coming up there. Then the next thing is to add the shaft. I can add the shaft to it from here. So the shaft, I pick the shaft, then I move it. When you look at the shaft here, the shaft is having a diameter of 30. The inner diameter for the fork at this side is also 30. So the shaft is going to fit in here. So this is where I place the shaft. I place it there. And you will see that this gap here is the keyway. So we have the keyway portion of it to be in the upper member, and the portion will be in the inner member. So I cannot place the key there, so you cannot draw the key. So we'll have the key inside here like this. All right, now when you have this part of it, we should know that because we have assembled and it's section, when it's section, there are certain lines here which should not appear. There are certain lines that we have to remove from there, and those lines include this one here, the one in the middle here. All right, because the key is there and the shaft is sectioned, we have sectioned, this line here will have to go, so it should not appear. So we have to remove this line from there because we have the shaft, the key in position. All right, so when the key is in position, then we are going to have something like this. And the shaft here, this area, that we know that shaft we don't section, but because of the keyway, we want to expose the keyway. Right, we want to expose the keyway. So if we want to expose the keyway, we can do what we call broken out section, where we have that zigzag lines at the end here. So let's say we have something like this, and then we hatch inside to reveal. So we have done some broken out section there, but the rest of the shaft will remain as it is. All right, so let me hatch this side here. So in order to differentiate, let me change the hatch scale, so I can make this one a little bit closer, and so we have it that way. All right, so we have the key inside, we have the shaft, and we have done broken out section here to reveal the inner portion, the inner keyway that is there. So we have the key position here. All right, the next thing is this line here. This line from this point to that point should not appear because we have section and the key, the pin have gone through. It means that this line here should go out of the way. It should go out of the way. So this one, this one, this one, and that one should go. So we have to remove it. So let me remove them from the way. Then this one too, and that one. So we'll have something like this. So this, we have assembled the shaft, we have the key in place, there is fork here, there is central block, the pin is here, we have the collar here, and then there will be the taper pin which will be inside here. That wasn't given the question, but here, because it's locking it and it's perpendicular to into the paper or to the screen, what you do is that the cutting plane have gone through, and because the cutting plane have gone through, it has gone across it, we have to section it. All right, so we will section this small hole. So let me use a scale of so you section it, but this time you have to make your section lines to be very close. All right, so we will have something like this. So we have something like this there. So this means that we have finished one part of the joint. Now we are left with the other part of the joint. We therefore need to add the other parts of the joint to complete it. So if you look at it, we have another fork, because the fork, there are two in number. We have already assembled the components onto one. So left with the other one, which will be connecting the central block from this end here. And that one is mainly the same fork which has been rotated through an angle of 90 degrees. So if you look at the joint, the central block, you realize that this is one uh, view of it. It's a sectional view. When you look at it from the top, the plan gives you this view. So mainly we have two uh, um, cylinders that are merging across each other. So when you look at this, it tells us that we need to have the fork position from the other angle so that it can you can link it with the central block. And that means that we are mainly going to draw this view of the fork that we have here, but this time we are going to change the orientation. So it means that what we have here, just rotate it through um, 180 degrees so that the front end here will be facing this direction as I'm having over here. All right. Now we need to section because this is a sectional front view that we are drawing. So sectional front view means that we have to section it, and the cutting plane is going through the center. And if the cutting plane is going through the center, then we need to reveal all the hidden features of this block. So you will see that inside it we have the inside the fork we have the hole which have gone through, and that hole is being shown here on the sectional front view of the fork. The diameter is 30, that is showing us here, right, with 30 diameter. And then we also have the keyway passing through up there. Then there is some space at the end over here. All right, so when you look at the front view, you see that void or that space inside here that has been indicated. This end here have been indicated with short dashes over here, and then we have the hole which is connecting it from the back side of the fork. So when we cut through, means that we are going to reveal this void inside. It has to be revealed. So this line here, instead of it to be short dashes as we are seeing, is going to be a continuous line like this one here. Then we also have the hole which is showing as hidden. This time is going to be revealed, and then it will appear like this. Then we also going to have the keyway. All right, so when we turn it, we will have the keyway also will be revealed. But here, if you look at what we're having here, we have the keyway on the inner side of it. And that inner side, when we section it, it means that the keyway is facing us up here. If you look at the front view, we have the keyway at the top there. So when we turn it that way, we are viewing from above. The keyway will be seen as we are having over here. But when we cut through it, it means that the keyway will have to go with the portion that we are throwing away, unless the rotation is done in such a way that the keyway is at the opposite side. In that case, it has to show as we are viewing over here. So let's say that it's in the front side towards us, so we remove this keyway. Then we are going to have this plain figure as the sectional view of the fork when we are connecting it from the other side to the joint. All right, so we are going to merge them, and you will see that if you look at it, you will see that again we have the inner hole here to be equal to 16. All right, so this hole here is 16, and then the inner hole for this central block over here is also 16 in diameter. So it means that what we are having here is 16, that one is 16, so they have to merge. Just as we are having this fork here, the inner hole, and then that of the central block being in line here, we also need to have this one to be in line with it. So in effect, this circle and that circle are going to be concentric. They are going to have the same center. So we are going to move this whole thing and make sure that this circle it's having the same center. Move this from the center of this circle to the center over here to merge it. So when you are drawing, you are mainly going to draw, if you are drawing, you just have to draw one circle there, and that is all All right, here I've separated them and I'm putting them together, so we move them there like that. Okay, so we move it, and then we move from this point to that point. All right, so now we have joined it together. We have joined it. Now there are certain modifications that we need to do here. All right, you will see that the other part of the fork, if you have um, assembled it to the joint, this arm of the fork, because we have done sectional drawing, is going to be at the back. All right, so this from this end here up to that end have to be at the back of the whole joint. And we explain in sectional drawing that if you are doing sectional drawing, we don't show hidden lines. All hidden lines will have to be removed. So in normal circumstance, if we are just drawing normal drawing like this arc, this line here from this point up to that point here will have to be short dashes to show that it's behind the fork. But because it's sectional view, we need to remove that section of it. So I remove it from here, and so you wipe it off. So it's not supposed to be there. All right, so we trim off this section like that, and we have this one. And you should know that if you are constructing to construct this line, the dimensions have been given to us, and what you have to do is to make sure that the the drawing that you are doing, first you have to produce this arc from here, but it should be faint, or it should be construction line. Then we are going to draw this line to be tangential to that circle or that arc there. All right, so it's just like drawing a line from a point which is tangential to a circle. So you just use the procedure we did in technical drawing to be able to do that one. All right, then when you are done, you're able to obtain the tangent point. You wipe off the rest, and then you make sure that this line is joining it here, and that one is also joining it at that point. The other thing that we have to put here will be the pin which is inside the joint here. All right, but you see that the pin is having the same diameter as this hole, so we do not have to draw the pin because this time the pin is facing us. All right, it's perpendicular to the screen. So if that is the case, we have also cut across it. So what we'll do is just to shade this area to indicate that the pin is there and we've cut across. Other members will not show, like the collar, it will not show in this case, and then this small pin will also not show because if it is in the front part, we have cut and removed it from there. And if it's at the back of the fork, it will not show because it's hidden from sight, and this is sectional drawing, so we will not show it. But the pin that we have cut through over here, we have to show it by hatching that area. So we hatch this area, and let me change the hatch density to say 0.5. Right, so you always have to differentiate. Okay, so we have something like this. We have something like this. The next thing to add will be the shaft, another shaft which is coming from this end. All right, so we have one here. So this time the shaft is also rotated through an angle. This one, because we have the keyway up here, we have the shaft in this direction merging, and the key is there. But this time we have turned the fork. All right, and looking at the position of the keyway means that this should be the orientation of the shaft. So we have the shaft here, and we're also going to position it over there. So let's put the shaft from this point, and this is where the shaft should be. So we are going to have something like this. All right, and the key will be on top. We explained that we don't section the shaft. What we are having at the end here is to show that this is not a complete shaft. There are some portion which have been broken off. All right, then we need to remove this area of it because the shaft have gone through. This line will not appear, so with this line here should go. Then this other line will also go because we do not because we have put the shaft inside there. So this will give us the complete assembly of the universal joint. So this one is the sectional front view of the universal joint. Sectional front view of the universal joint. The other part of the equation is to determine the a plan of it, to determine the plan of it. So when we have the sectional view of this one, we are also going to draw the plan, and the plan is mainly going to look like this, but it's going to be in a different orientation. All right, so this area here that we are seeing the front view, when we come down we are going to see the plan of it, and then this one here that is showing us the front view down here is going to be the plan. So what is going to happen is that it's like this whole thing is going to be rotated such that you have this area here and then this area at the other side. So this joint is something that we can say that is somehow symmetrical, such that what we are having is we can say that what we are coming to draw now is mainly a mirror image of what we are having over here. All right, so we proceed to that aspect, and there's another thing that you need to take into account, and that is to show the center lines. All right, so we have to show the center lines. So we have the joint, we have the joint like this. We need to indicate the center lines. So we can indicate the center line for this one, for this one here. So we have the center line going through, cylindrical in shape. This area too is round, right? So we need to have another one here. Then we also have this area here, so we need to have center line in the middle there like that. Then the next one is going to be this one here. All right, so we have the center lines in position, and this small pin tool should have a center line. Okay, so that completes the sectional front view of the universal joint. All right, assuming we've been asked to draw, say, a view from the right. A view from the right is like drawing the right hand side view, and also if you've been asked to draw the plan for the assembled joint, this is how it's going to be like. So we'll have the plan like this, and then the right hand side view like this one here. So let's look at that in detail. So if you look at this one, we have all the components present in this assembly. So mainly we have drawn the end elevation of this front sectional view, sectional front view. Okay, so when you look at it, you will see that we have the pin. The pin, this one, this horizontal pin is the one we have sectioned over here, this one, and that one has gone through, all right, the assembly. So we have the head, which is outside, protruding outside, which will be seen when we look at it, all right. And we also have the um, the collar here, the collar at the end, and then we have the taper pin which have gone through, right? So you realize that the um the whole body of the pin will be within, and it's not something that we can see outside because it's hidden inside of it. And because of that, we have to use the hidden lines to indicate that pin, the stem of the pin. Then the taper pin too, we can also see it from here. Also, we have used the hidden lines to indicate that. All right, then when you come up to the same, this is the vertical one, and that is this pin that we are having here. All right, this pin, when we are viewing it from this direction, the right hand side, we are going to see it like that inside, and then we have that one here, and then the head is outside, then the rest will go within. Then the next thing we can see here will be the fork. Let's look at the forks. So the fork here, we have this one and then this other one here. So this one here, when we look at the projection, we have it starting from this side, all right, and I've gone down that way in that direction, in that order. So when we look at it, the end view for the fork will appear like what we have here. All right, then there are some hidden features, there are some features within which also need to appear, and that will be this line, this inside area here, and that is from here to that point, and then from here to this other end there. All right, so that gives us this fork. Then the other one, which is oriented in the horizontal direction, will also come over here like what we are having here. Then we have the inside area from here to here, and then from here to that point. We can also locate the central block here. So the central block is been like a cross, all right. It's like two cylinders that are attached across each other. So when you look at it on the diagram, we will have this one here, these short dashes from here to the top, and from here to the top represent this area, or this uh, area of the central block. Then this other portion here, which will be in the horizontal, will be this one here, from here to that short dashes, and from here to that, and that is that one. And also here is shown as hidden because when we view from that direction, we are not going to see the central block because it's hidden within a shape and it will not show. All right, so we are using the short dashes to indicate it. The key, we have a key here. The key up here, this one will reflect like this, and it will be hidden because when you are viewing from here, it's blocked, it's behind the central block and we cannot see it. So we use the short dashes to indicate the shape of the key. Then we also have another key which is located here, securing this shaft to the fork, from the right hand side, so that one too will appear. And because we are viewing from the other direction, we will have the portion that will be within the shaft to be hidden. It's embedded within, is hidden, but the portion that will be within the fork will show. So we'll have one portion of it showing up and another portion within. So the portion that will be showing, we use the short dashes to show, I mean the continuous line, and then the portion that will be within, we use short dashes to show it. Then we also going to see the fork. This section or this area of the fork is circular in shape. Is circular in shape. So when you are viewing from that direction, you will see a circle, and that is this one here, right? Then the shaft will also appear in the form of a circle. The shaft is circular or cylindrical in shape. So you are going to have a circle too in the middle here, like that. And you need to show all the center lines. So we have the center lines here, all right, this one there, that one, and then those ones within the taper pin also showing there. Let's also examine uh, the plan. Let's look at the plan. So the plan is mainly it's just like similar to the front view, but you see that this one is like the front view has been rotated, all right, and this has not been sectioned. All right, this is the same as it is. So it's like if you rotate the front view through, say, an angle of think 180. If you rotate it through 180, all right, we are going to get something like this. So it's very easy. What you will see here is that the plan is just a reflection of the front view. Just rotating the front view through an angle, you get the plan. So let's examine that too in detail. When we look at it, we have the pin here, the pin that we have sectioned over here, that is the pin which I've gone through. And then um we have the collar here, and then there's that taper pin which is within, is small inside this hole here. All right, we have this fork. This fork, when we view from above, is going to be like the shape we are having here, and we need to show the shaft within it. All right, the shaft which is in line with the hole within, we use the short dashes to indicate. Because it's inside the hole, we cannot see it, so we use the short dashes. Then we also have the keyway. The keyway, we have the one within the fork, and then the one on the shaft. So the one on the shaft there is there, and then the one on the fork, we use the short dash to indicate. Then the key itself is within there, so the key is in line with those short dashes, and that is inside over there. Then we also have the other side. We have this fork here. So this fork too is just a projection from this. When you view this from above, this is what you see. This is just similar to what we're given in the question. So you have the hole within the fork also inside there, like that. And then this um, short dashes will come to indicate that area here, the void inside there. So we have these short dashes here. Then the keyway on the fork also goes in. Then the shaft, all right, the shaft too comes in, but the shaft, this area which will be within the hole, will not see it. So it's in line with the hole, or the it's in line with the hole. The outer diameter of the shaft is in line with the hole, the inner diameter of the hole. So this short dashes also represent the shaft, all right, the area that is embedded within the fork. Then we also have the key. We have the keyway on the shaft also in there. Then the key itself, so the key is also within there. So you see the key is ending somewhere here, and it is inside the hole and is securing the shaft with the fork. Then at the center here, we are going to have first the pin. All right, the pin, we have the head of the pin here, and the diameter of it from here to that is the same as that of the diameter, the outer diameter of the collar. So that all would be 1 in a circular form. And if you are viewing from above, this one here, the head of the pin will not be seen. It has to appear as hidden. But because it's of the same diameter of the collar here, it's going to flash with it. So we're going to have a continuous circle. Then the diameter of the pin itself, which is also equal to the inner diameter of the collar, and then the inner diameter of the central block as well as that of the fork, all would be a circle in the middle there. Then we're also going to have the taper pin. The taper pin here, we view from above, is going to go through like we have there, but because that one we are not going to see, we'll use short dashes to indicate that one. Then you see that this central block, the central block is also here, and the central block, when you view from above, this is the shape we are going to see. So it's secured inside here. All right, then you will have this section of the central block, this area from that point to that, when you view from above, is in the form of a circle, but that circle is going to flash. One portion of it is going to be under the portion that this portion of the circle is going to be under the or within the fork. So one arm of the fork will be we will overshadow it, so you will not see it. So we use the short dashes to indicate that circle. Then the other area of it will be in line with the fork, so that will not be hidden. That would will use a continuous lines, though it's hidden, but the fork is shown, so we have to use continuous lines to indicate that one. And then the shaft, all right, the shaft have gone through. Again, this shaft is not the complete one, so we section it this way to mean that this is a cylindrical object, but it's a section of it. It's not a complete one. It's we just cut some portion. All right, so this completes the whole as views of the assembly drawing. So we have first the sectional front view, we have the plan, and then we have the right hand side view over here. And this, of course, is an first angle projection. Thank you very much, and God richly bless you. If you have any question, don't hesitate to post it. Thank you. See you later.